Hi guys, I'm here with Mitchell, who also works with Felix. And hi Mitchell, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
I see Mitchell pretty much every morning here, so it's all good. Mitchell, you and Felix have a bit of a history, so tell me a little bit about it. Your families do anyway.
Well, my father was a jockey before in South Africa, and when my father was riding as an apprentice, he actually rode for Felix's father quite a lot and won some very good races for him actually.
That's great.
And then after that my father became the riding instructor at the South African Jockeys Academy.
Okay.
And my mother was an amateur jockey, so I started off my career actually doing show jumping and dressage. And then at a later stage I switched to the racing side where my dad took over teaching me.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you went, so did you ever become a jockey, or did you do it mostly for track work riding and sort of training horses outside of that?
I didn't actually get the itch to race ride until I was 16.
Okay.
And by then South Africa was only accepting 13 and 14-year-olds.
Right.
So I decided to leave that and go and try America and see what America was like.
Okay. And when did you go over to the States? And whereabouts did you go?
I went over in 1999.
1999. Okay.
And I was based mainly in Louisville, Kentucky.
Right.
And I worked for Nala Callahan there for 2 years.
That's fantastic. And then from the States, you ended up in Hong Kong? Or
I finished my visa in America. It was a 2-year study visa. And then I went back to South Africa for a while. And actually, Robbie Fradd told me Hong Kong had started hiring expat work riders. So he actually put in a good word for me. And I ended up here a few months later.
That's great. And you've been here ever since, obviously.
I've been here ever since for 24 years now.
That's incredible. So you're probably the longest, I wouldn't say, well, you're not an expat rider anymore, but you, if you were, you'd be the longest riding expat rider,
yes,
I would imagine.
That's correct, yes.
That's incredible. So you came here, were you assigned to a specific trainer, or were you just sort of like what the expat riders are now?
No, when I first started back then, I started with Francis Loy and Wong Tang Ping.
I remember Wong Tang.
Yes, and that was the end of the 2001 season.
Okay.
And then the following season, I started with the late Laurie Founds and Tony Cruz and David Hayes.
Really?
Yes.
So you were with David Hayes on his first stint in Hong Kong?
Yes, correct.
Wow. Okay, so you bounced around from those three, and then what happened? You continued to, did you switch to other trainers for a while, or?
I worked for those stables for 5 years.
Okay.
And then I took a short break and went to ride in Dubai for 3 months.
Okay.
And then I came back to Hong Kong and was actually riding for Michael Chang, Casper, and Tony Cruz again.
Okay, that's great. So how was Dubai, by the way? Let's just get that out of the way. Was it a good learning experience for you, or was it something that you felt, take it or leave it, now in hindsight?
Dubai was interesting. I didn't like the Anglo-Arabs. I preferred the thoroughbred racing, and our stable, very big stables, the Beal Racing stables, had half Arabs and half thoroughbreds. Okay. So it was very nice, very interesting country. And I actually went back a few years later with one of Tony Cruz's horses.
Okay.
Beauty Flash.
How did he do?
He unfortunately didn't handle the track so well.
Yeah, the track is tricky there.
It is very tricky there.
Yeah.
But it is a lovely place, very hot and dry. But I prefer Hong Kong, so after 3 months I rang up Mr. Ridley and I came back.
That's great. Now, how many years later you are working with Felix? It's almost like a full circle.
Well, actually, when I was assigned to Tony Cruz's stable, I used to ride Silent Witness in the mornings.
Okay.
And as well as Lucky Owners.
That's fantastic.
And then I'd also be responsible for holding them in the barriers on race day. So Felix and I worked together in the mornings then. I saw him on race day for the important meetings. And after 12 years, I decided to switch and join. Back then it was the RDB, the Racing Development Board.
Okay.
And
why did you choose to do that? I mean, if things were going good, you were with Silent Witness, you had Lucky Owners, you had all these incredible horses, you were with some of the top jockeys, you experienced some really fun stuff around this incredible race course. So why the decision to give up riding in the morning to do this? Was it your body? Was it
riding
pain?
In the mornings and getting up every morning at 3:30? It is tiring on the body and taxing, and the risks involved increase the older you start to get. And I've always sort of helped my father with the first-year apprentices when they came to the academy. I used to enjoy watching them from the ground up and seeing how he did it. So I was always eager to try and help here, because my upbringing started off on the equestrian side and switched to racing. And I think because of that, I tend to ride with a lot of a softer approach to horses. And so I wanted to try and pass that on to the trainees here.
That's great. So, and I think the fact that you had that as a child growing up as well, because your dad did that, you know, and you've come from a family of obviously horsemen, people that have been in the industry a long time. So that makes a lot of sense. And how do you fit? I mean, did you feel that it was the right decision for you when you did it? Do you now as well? You've been in it, what,
12 years now.
For them?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I know, it's flown by.
Oh, that's a long time. I didn't realize, because Felix has been 6, I think.
6 or going on 7?
Years,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So 12 years.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
I remember you were riding for my dad when I was here, so.
Yes, some
That's
lovely
insane.
horses I rode for him.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. And you have your wife and family here as well?
Yes, my wife and 3 children.
3 children. Tell me a little bit about them, your kids.
Well, they're 12, 10 and 5 now. So we live actually out in Clearwater Bay. It's more of a village house, more of a European standard, you know, so at least we've got a bit more space and we can have barbecues on the roof.
Nice.
Yeah, try to get away from the built-up cities as much as
the
possible.
hustle and bustle.
Yes.
Yeah. And you do a lot of hiking and cycling.
I do a lot of hiking, camping out in Tailong, Taiwan, and I do a lot of mountain biking still and road cycling.
That's great. So you keep fit?
Keep fit, and occasionally Felix calls on me to do a
go
demonstration or ride with someone, you know.
Yeah. So you actually go out on the track? Oh, that's been a while.
When needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't since July, when I was actually riding with Petrina, and sometimes he wants me to give a class on something specific. So I mean, it's great for Felix because he's got Jack and myself, who can bring different things to the lessons that he wants.
That's fantastic. Well, that's great. Mitchell, thank you for being on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.